Hello everyone, I'm Maddy, and today we're visiting the Los Angeles Maritime Institute at the Port of San Pedro. Today I'm here with Captain Bruce Hyman. Hello.
Hi,
Please
Maddy.
introduce yourself.
Great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. Welcome to Los Angeles Maritime Institute.
Thank you. Can you please tell us about some of the responsibilities that you do here and a little bit about what LAMI is?
Sure. So my job here is I'm the executive director for LAMI, which is basically in the nonprofit world. That means I'm the CEO of the company. So Los Angeles Maritime Institute, we've been around since 1992, so we're in our 29th year going on. And we like to serve middle school students and high school students, and we help them with all sorts of different types of education.
Great, thank you.
Certainly.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about LAMI? What is LAMI's mission?
Sure, Maddy. Our mission, and it has been for 29 years, is to serve mostly economically and educationally disadvantaged youth, middle school years, upper elementary, high school students, and we really make science real or math real. We deliver experiential education programs aboard one of our 3 operational tall ships and help them understand that the math and the physics and the biology and the marine sciences that they're learning in school are really applicable in the real world and can be used. And then we also help them because it's all about teamwork and leadership and how to work in a team. And so, plus, we actually put them in the rigging. We're going to go down on the boats later, and I'm going to show you they get to climb up in the rigging, and that helps with their self-image, self-confidence. So that's the purpose.
So, can you begin by explaining what these are?
Sure, absolutely. So we're in the Building G, the main room of Building G, where we do a lot of restoration work. And what we have here is this is a spar. Spars are masts, booms that are part of the tall sailing vessel. And this piece of wood actually was fashioned by Essex Shipwrights, and it would have been 1938, 1939 in Ipswich, Massachusetts. And we're restoring this vessel now. In a few minutes, we're going to walk out there and I'll show you the vessel. So right over here is a new one that's being made. So that's actually a piece of longleaf pine that comes from somewhere in one of the forests near Boston, Massachusetts. And this one is Doug fir that's all comes from the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And you can see they've actually done a glue lamination. So it's a bunch of boards that are glued up, which is a modern way of making a traditional spar. You can see it involves a lot of sawdust.
Yeah. So what is a spar? What are they used for?
So on a tall ship, you're going to have spars that go straight up, and those are masts. You can have a lower mast and an upper mast. We have 4 of those, 2 lowers and 2 uppers. Then they also have a bowsprit that sticks out way in front of the boat, and also we can have a jibboom there. And then on the top of the sail, we can have gaffs. And on the bottom of the sail, we can have booms. And so all of these that you see here are different parts of it. And then if you look up, hanging from the ceiling, are remade tops. So these are the cross trees and the trestle trees that are an important part of the structure or the rigging of a tall ship. And it's all physics. Those spreaders are actually there so that they can hold the mast in column and then allow the force of the wind to push the boat along and communicate all that force into the hull of the boat to move it through the water. That's why physics and math are cool.
So we were talking a little bit about the history behind some of the things in this building. Can you go a little bit more into depth about them?
Oh, sure. So like I said, this boat was made in 1938 by Essex Shipwrights, and then it was in 1941 brought around to the coast here on the Pacific coast. And the first owner of the vessel was James Cagney and his brother. And they owned the boat for 15 years. It was down in Newport Harbor, and they kept having the dream of sailing it around the world because this boat was designed to be the perfect cruising boat. But their movie career took off so well, they were so busy, they never got a chance to go around the world. This boat was the first boat that LAMI, Los Angeles Maritime Institute, was able to purchase in 1992. So this boat has been with us for a long time now.
So where are we right now?
So right next to the room that we were just in a little bit, where we were looking at the different spars, we're now in the wood shop room. And this is where a lot of the magic occurs, where everything's shaped. So whether it's a thickness planer, a router, a big bandsaw, or table saw, drill presses, this is where the wood gets turned into sawdust and turned into a really nice fittings.
Oh, is this where the spar was made?
This is where some of the spar might have been made, but the spar is so big that we actually, most of these tools are on wheels, and we'll actually roll the tools out into the big room. And then some of the times we need 3 or 4 people to be able to handle the wood because it's so big, to be able to put it through the tool, and whether we're making it thinner or getting it to the right thickness, etc.
About how long does it take for someone to make like a big piece for a ship?
Well, we just had to replace our course yard, which is the main yard for the square sail on our brigantine, X.E. Johnson. And that one is 44 feet 6 inches long and about 13 inches in the middle. And we probably had 1 or 2 people working on it all the time, and it took about a month and a half.
Wow.
To finish it. And there were some days where we had a lot more people working on it, when we're doing glue up or sanding or painting, etc.
How does someone get involved with a career like that?
They fall in love with it, right? Because a lot of the people we have here are either doing it for a career. A large number of volunteers are people that maybe have other careers. We have a lot of bankers, finance advisors, or teachers, or just other people doing other things. But they love working with their hands. They love working with tools and making things. So that's what the people do in this building.
When you think boats, you usually think of buoyancy. Can you explain that a little bit?
Absolutely. Buoyancy is cool. In fact, Archimedes started it off, right, when the king wanted to know what the weight of the crown was and whether it was real gold or fake gold. So the problem with this boat that we have is that in 1938, the United States Coast Guard regulations aren't the same as what we have now. So back in the current regulations are that if a boat is sitting in the water, right, hopefully that looks like a boat, right, there you go, a boat, right, now if the wind blows or a big wave comes and knocks the boat on its side, right, well, what do you think happens if it gets knocked on its side? Well, if it doesn't have enough buoyancy and stability, the boat goes all the way over and sinks. And then all the people have to swim somewhere.
Titanic style.
Right, okay. So what do? Instead, we design the boat so that it has the buoyancy so that when it gets knocked over, it says, oh, I'm not happy here. I want to come back up. And so that's what we've done with this boat. And how do you do that? Well, right where my wrists come together, we have a ballast keel. We've got 13,000 pounds of lead hanging off the bottom of the keel so that when it gets bent over, you can see the lead is now up higher than the new bottom of the boat. And so it just pivots it right back. So we've made some changes to the 1938 design so that the boat will meet the modern Coast Guard regulations, including buoyancy and stability.
Well, if a boat gets knocked down, won't all the water rush into the boat?
Well, yeah, of course it will. And do you think a boat is fun to be in if all the water that's supposed to be on the outside of it is on the inside? No. So the Coast Guard has a regulation. It says when the boat's sitting in the water, it's a sailboat, so the wind's going to blow on it, which means it's going to heel over, right? It's going to heel over. That's okay. It's fun. It goes fast. But the problem is if it heels over far enough, so that the windows, we call them ports, or the doors are now below water. All the water is going to rush inside the boat, and that ruins the stability of the boat, and the boat will sink once it fills up with water. But you can see all of the hatches that go down below are on the center line of the vessel. And that's because as I look at you, right, the first parts that are going to go in the water are the parts near my fingers, right? They're out here, right? So if you put a hatch in the center line, it stays above the water. It won't fill up with water.
So I shouldn't worry about sinking when I get on this, right?
We try to go out every day and not sink.
Let's go on the boat, yeah?
Yep. We're on the deck of the Swift of Ipswich. We're actually at the helm station. And the helm station is where we would be driving the vessel from. So here's the ship's wheel. And you can see if we want to turn the vessel to the starboard or to the right, we're going to turn the wheel to the right. And if we want to come to the left, we'll turn the wheel to the left.
What is this thing?
Well, it's not our coffee maker. This is actually the binnacle. And you will always see on a tall ship, very close to where the helmsman's standing their tour, they will have inside, what is that?
Is that a compass?
That is a compass, and the compass is right on the center line of the vessel, and you can see, just line up that little white line with the little yellow right there, and you can see that we are sailing, right now we're pointing about 110 degrees. So the captain of the vessel would tell the helmsperson, I want you to steer a steady course of 110 degrees, and the person on the helm will keep moving the wheel back and forth to try to keep the boat right on 110 degrees.
Kind of looks like a space helmet.
It does look like a space helmet.
And Moon Man.
Why do you think it has that cover on it?
To protect from the water?
Exactly. Well, protect from the water, protect from the sun, and also at night there's a little light up in here that would let you see it, so you can read this at night without it making a lot of... We don't like light on the deck of a boat at night because it ruins our night vision.
So what is this?
That's called an inclinometer. And what that does is you can see the little black ball is right at 0 right now. Remember we were talking earlier about when the boat heels over.
Right.
Well, we often want to know how much is the boat heeling over. And you can see here, that would be 45 degrees. And if the little ball's over here, that means the boat's heeling over this way and we're on port tack. So the wind is hitting the port side of the vessel first and heeling it over. It's, you know, when you ask me what's the difference between tilting, we don't talk about it as tilting, but it is correct. It is tilting. We have two different things. When the wind blows the boat and the boat heels over, it's due to the forces of the wind. If we shift the load around the boat and we had everybody standing over here, that would be a list, and the boat would be listing so many degrees to starboard.
Can we open this?
Yeah, I don't know what we'll find. Well, this was original. This was probably done back in the 1930s, and you can see what happens to metal. You can see this would have been mounted in the wood. It would have originally been this long, and it probably would have been that big around. And then over the years, due to corrosion, right, the metal is oxidized and there's not much left. So this is no longer good. And then you can see this is some sort of strap for holding something down, but no longer serviceable, but we'll be making new ones to try and look as much like the original as possible.
Can you tell us a little bit about where we are right now?
Where we are? Well, we're in the Port of Los Angeles. We're at berth 78, which is where our boats are docked. And we're literally...
Hello?
Well, what do you think that meant? That is supposed to be a sound signal that lasts 4 seconds to 6 seconds. I didn't hear it that long, but that's supposed to let all the other mariners know that they are leaving the dock. So it's one prolonged blast to let us know that we're leaving their dock. Irving Johnson, and that boat is called XC Johnson, and they're called that because in the 30s, a young couple by the name of Irving Johnson and his wife, Electa Johnson, nicknamed XC Johnson, they went to sailing around the world 7 times.
7 times?
7 times.
The whole world?
The whole world. Each time they took 18 months, and each time they had kids just like you on the boat while they went around the world. Can you imagine spending your sophomore year in high school going around the world on a tall ship?
I think I would get really seasick.
Only for a few days. So our boats are named after Irving Johnson and Electa Johnson because they were the founders of youth tall ship sailing and sail training, and we thought it would be fitting to name them. And these 2 boats were actually christened on the day that they were launched in 2002 by XC Johnson. She was still with us, and so she was able to christen them.
Should we get on?
Yeah, let's go do that.
Go. Hi, I'm Maddy, and today we're here at AltaSea at the Port of Los Angeles. I'm here with Andrew.
Hi, Maddy. How are you? I'm Andrew Sanchez. I am the facilities manager here at AltaSea, and part of my day-to-day responsibilities is managing the 35-acre warehouse, as well as working with tenant relations and making sure that they're happy at AltaSea.
Awesome. Should we go inside?
Sure.
Let's go. So can you tell us a little bit more about AltaSea's mission and some of their goals?
Yeah, some of our mission, one of our mission is to develop ocean science technology and encourage new students that are interested in ocean sciences to develop new ideas so that we can generate these ideas into the ocean and have a cleaner, more sustainable future.
Why is that important?
Well, that's a good question. We are facing forest fires all along the western region right now. We are facing an abundance of plastic pollution all around the coastline. And amongst that, we are also facing temperature changes, whether it's too hot or it's too cold when it's not supposed to be. So if we continue with the rate we are now, it'll only get worse. And with this new technology that these new students will be developing, we're able to incorporate that into a business entity, and this business entity will be able to provide a little bit more solutions for the community.
Just to backtrack, why does it matter if the ocean is too hot or too cold?
Another good question. If the water is too hot or too cold, then it affects everything else around the world. So the ocean is the AC to the earth. If the outside temperature is too hot, the ocean will warm itself down, which will cause ocean acidification. It will also cause extinction of animals, and we are actually facing that right now. So it's really important that we tackle this important issue now so that we won't have to have a stronger issue in the future.
So AltaSea does a lot. How long has it been around?
AltaSea has been around for 5 years already. We were established in 2014, but the history about the property has been here for way longer. City Dock 1 over there with the water tower was constructed in 1914, and with the purpose of introducing ships that were coming in from the Panama Canal to the harbor. And you see these railroad tracks that we're standing on now. The containers that would come in through the Panama Canal into the LA harbor would then ship the stuff into the trains, and they would head out to the city of Los Angeles. So actually, in fact, AltaSea was used during World War I for ammunition storage, Navy usage, and also submarine docking way down there, which I will show you later.
Cool. So AltaSea has a really impressive history. How can you bring that back to what AltaSea does now?
Yeah, so if it wasn't for the innovative thinking that the Harbor Commission had back in the days, LA, the city of Los Angeles, wouldn't be the city it is now. Similarly, we have the opportunity to become innovative in science, technology, and education. And with that being said, we have an opportunity to flourish with that background for kids, and so that they become successful in the new future, which is the blue economy future.
What does that mean? What is the blue economy future?
The blue economy. So blue economy consists of an economy that relates to ocean-related businesses, whether it's aquaculture, whether it's blue technology, whether it's an educational organization thriving to bring in more kids into STEM programs. And that's the innovative thinking that AltaSea is doing now. And we hope to improve as we get older.
So you were talking earlier about aquaculture.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Aquaculture, good question. It is the same as agriculture. The only difference is you're shifting from land to the ocean. And so what you are growing there are bivalves, mussels, clams, oysters, anything that is sustainable means of protein. We are facing a high consumption of methane gases produced by cows. And so having aquaculture in the southern region will help clean out those methane emissions that we are being challenged with now. One of the aquaculture companies that AltaSea works with grows kelp. So if we feed the kelp to these cows are able to reduce their methane emissions by 90%. So having a aquaculture sector at AltaSea is really important. The other goal for AltaSea is to have a little bit broader sense of the ocean. What does it look like? We don't know what it looks like underneath. We know more about the face of Mars and more about the moon than we do know about our ocean. So our goal is to find the next Indiana Jones of the ocean, have them explore, and discover solutions to climate issues. And the other goal that AltaSea is facing now is, the other goal that AltaSea is facing now is blue technology. How are we able to get out to the ocean if we don't have high technology to get there? So with these engineers and universities that are working together to come up with crazy robots that will be out in the ocean, we'll be able to explore more and deeper.
Let's talk more about ocean pollution. Mm-hmm. How is plastic pollution specifically, how is that affecting the animals in the ocean?
To put it simply, plastic pollution is affecting the fishes, the ocean creatures, and the microorganisms in the ocean by killing them. We are facing extinction at a rapid rate now. With the goals that AltaSea has in mind with ocean exploration, we're able to discover new species, discover new geographic areas that haven't been discovered ever. And with discovering these new species, we are able to study them and maybe even use them to our advantage in the future.
Right. You hear a lot about turtles swallowing plastic from containers, but what other types of plastics pollute the ocean? What other types of things should we avoid?
Microplastics. Microplastics is super small plastics that affect every organism in the ocean. They confuse it for food, and in turn they eat it. And who consumes the animals? Humans do. The plastic stays inside the fish for a long time, and in turn we are digesting that plastic ourselves. And we'll probably have plastic toxins in our body right now. Yeah.
Microplastics, like, you mean the little beads in my face wash?
Yeah. In fact, the little beads in your face wash aren't existing there anymore. There is a partner that AltaSea works with, the 5 gyres, who discovered that the micro beads in face wash products are really, really harmful for the ocean.
Can you talk a little bit more about the programs that AltaSea has? What do they have for students?
Yeah, so we are standing right now inside Berth 57, which will be catered to the Science Center. And within the Science Center, we will be partnering up with 23 universities all around California, including UCLA, USC, and Occidental College. This is a really great opportunity for these young scientists interested in ocean science research, because now they'll have a platform to go from once they graduate from high school. And within this facility, they'll be in proximity with working with businesses on the Center of Innovation.